on now, church. Come on now, church. Come on now, church. Praise the Lord.
You know what? I didn't know what to expect, and I came to this festival, and I got my the booklet, and I thought, this is such a lovely festival. I didn't understand how intimate it is, and just how incredibly personal.
I'd come back to Ebertfest if I had nothing to do with writing about film, because it's just simply one of the great places in the Midwest and really America to experience what it's like to see a wide range of movies in a communal experience with a smart, curious, open for anything audience on one of the biggest, best screens in my part of the country, you know, here in the Midwest.
It was an amazing venue. The crowd was just terrific, and it's nice when everything sounds good and looks good, and then, you know, and people get the jokes. The choir was incredible, and it was just a great evening.
I've heard about Ebertfest for a long time, but I've never had the chance to come, so I was excited to come. And just the audience is amazing here. It's just diehard film lovers, which I'm one of those people, so those are the best crowds for filmmakers, and just the kind of common purpose feels palpable here.
Ebertfest feels like a family reunion. You know, the one you have at a nice hotel, and there's macaroni and cheese and people you really like, and nice conversation, and people who are super supportive of film and filmmakers and filmmaking. The experience so far has been great.
And I love the concept of this festival. You know, they're going to show you some cinema that you may not have had the opportunity to see. And so you can sit in this one gorgeous theater. You don't have to stand in line everywhere all over the city. And they just feed you these amazing films one after another.
I've never been to a festival like this one before. This is really an extraordinary experience. It is a film festival that's actually about films. It's about community, it's about building community, and making it clear to each other that we need each other and that we can find commonality in our stories that are shown in film.
You have the Aretha Franklin documentary, and then you have Bound, and then you have Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, and a documentary about Maya Angelou. It's just like, I really feel like I would love to come here and just stay for the whole 5 days and just go every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aretha Franklin, Southern California Choir, Holy, Holy.
With the movie, it is a religious service. And most people say to me after seeing it, they felt like they just had church.
It's about storytelling, and at our best sense, these stories do something with the truth of our own lives. So you give me a film about Poland, you give me a film upstate New York, you give me a film, I Bring Maya Angelou, and you give me a film that when it was shot, Bound, 11 years ago, the whole world has changed in terms of that subject matter.
Tonight it was amazing to see Bound in a theater for the first time in 23 years with a really appreciative audience.
Bound is pure filmmaking. Scary, funny, sexy, and horrifying.
I think the selection of films here has had a very interesting flow. We've dealt with a lot of very difficult, heavy subjects, but at the same time, we're coming now to Mr. Rogers. It's pure inspiration.
It's funny because Chaz had mentioned at the beginning, that there was a quote from Rogers where he said, "The thing that makes me cry is goodness, not sadness." And I've quoted that so many times in talking about this movie, because the film is not a sad movie. It's a film about goodness, and I think that's really what's touching about it. And so, not knowing I was ever going to be here, that was something that really helped me explain what this film was about.
You're writing with the hope that we're all connected. And then when you see it actually come to be, and you see a whole room full of people being very empathetic and very moved and laughing and connecting, it gives you hope. Like, it's something to cling to right before we all, become destroyed.
I think being at Ebertfest means a lot, simply because of the fact that when this film was shown in 1982, unbeknownst to us at the time, Roger Ebert was actually in the audience.
We found out that Roger Ebert had actually seen the film in New Orleans, and we had no idea, and that they had spoken about the film, and that made it, I think, more special to us as well as to Chaz.
Because one of the things that's also amazing about Ebertfest is Ebertfest has a history of honoring people who are highly skilled artists who we take for granted because they're not, Clark Gable, they're not in the limelight so much. Scott Wilson was one of those people.
Roger had been one of Scott's earliest critics who really recognized him and gave him his due in his reviews.
To bring in the actress from Poland, who's in her late 70s or 80s now, and to have an interpreter for her so that she could be here for that Scott Wilson film, and for that film to be given, and Scott Wilson passed last year, and Heavenly, his life partner, is here. That's what I'm talking about. It's not just the films, but it's the humanity of how they're being presented.
Zawsze jest bardzo trudno oglądać siebie, ale bardzo chciałam poczuć się właśnie z publicznością amerykańską, żeby razem odebrać ten film. Jestem bardzo szczęśliwa, bo wspaniała publiczność. Tak dużo ludzi przyszło. To dla mnie było bardzo wzruszające. I wzruszające zobaczyć Scotta i to, że moim tłumaczem jest mój wnuk.
But what is amazing about this festival is we're dealing with grief as a celebration for these people that have passed away. There's no other event like it.
And I believe, watching Rachel getting married, Jonathan Demme was with us every minute of that screening.
This film is what Ebertfest is all about. This whole idea of extended family.
Your Uncle Richard here, he's an old man. Very old and doesn't understand.
Hipster who knows what's right for the kids.
One of the people in Roger's life that he appreciated so much, he was someone who was a friend, and then he also became a partner for years on the Ebert and Roper show, was Richard Roper.
So honored and humbled that she said she really wanted to pay tribute to the Ebert and Roper years and show some clips. And then also, as we mentioned, Almost Famous and Sideways, two films that I picked because we both loved them so much.
It was Chaz who said to Roger, you should give Richard a try at this. And as was mentioned there, Roger said, but we work at the same newspaper. And Chaz said, so what?
Well, I, of course, had the front row seat and the privilege of being with Roger and Chaz, and they were always partners. And it's no surprise to me that she could, take the reins of something like this and do such a marvelous job, because like Roger, she has an undying love for movies.
We recently did a spotlight on Chaz, and I said that she is a philanthropist and an activist, and I think that spirit is what prevails here.
I mean, Chaz, she's such a kind of warm, loving force of nature that's perfect. I mean, that's what you want for a film festival. You want somebody who cares that much and has that much passion. I mean, it's passion.
And I just want to say, I am so impressed by Chaz, and I love that she is keeping the film festival going. Like, I know he would be so happy to see how it's continuing and how she's keeping his name alive and his memory alive with this really beautiful, beautiful personal film festival.
It's some sort of miracle, really, that the more the festival evolves and changes, the more it seems to stay the same in terms of spirit. Roger's spirit is still as strong as ever, but with Chaz, Ebert, and Nate Cohn, we're getting a different and much broader range of representation, frankly.
I think Roger made it clear to people that films matter, that movies matter. And I think that he welcomed people into making decisions about movies, about feeling that their opinions about movies mattered as well.
Roger was always focused on what was the content of the movie. And he didn't care whether it cost $50,000 or $50 million. He was focused on what is the film about and why is it important. And that's why I always loved and admired him. That's what Chaz is honoring with Ebertfest.
You've done such wonderful things always in his name, and it means a lot to all of us. And I know it's very late at night, but I just want to thank you, and I think that everyone should applaud you for the festival that continues on.
I think what Ebertfest is doing is maybe the most important part of his legacy, certainly a very key component with Chaz and everybody else that's involved. And it's just so wonderful to come back every year to not only pay tribute to the movies and the filmmakers, but to Roger's love of movies. You know, there couldn't be a better way to keep his memory alive.
Roger was the kind of guy that had a generous greatness. His genius was so loving, and when he walked into a room, he brought joy, and he brought joy to everybody in that room, and he celebrated the joy of what he saw on film and in the cinema that moved us all.